Consider our wealth of natural resources, ideal geographical location, manageable landscape, and fertile soil, abundant land, and a small population. Consider also that we speak the world's leading language, have multiple diverse cultures, and we are a warm and welcoming people. What then is preventing us from creating the Guyana that we all desire? What if Guyana lived up to its potential?
Welcome to Face in the Future television program. I'm Delon Sanko.
And I'm Tiadi Welch.
And I'm Carrie-Ann Court. We're all members of Rights of Children Rock, which is one of the organizations that is part of the Face in the Future initiative. I'm sure you're wondering what FTF is or Face in the Future is. It's an initiative by some civic organizations to try to change the state of things in Guyana. We believe that unless we change the way the society works, we shall remain mirrored by empty politics, fear, and most of all, migration, which is a big problem here in Guyana.
And you know what, too, Carrie-Ann? I believe that Guyana has made a turning point, and most young people, to be exact, are not involved in these electoral activities. So what Face in the Future is trying to do is to promote these activities so that young people could understand the principles and the importance of being a part of this whole entire electoral system.
One of the reasons people have been migrating is because our political system has been driving them away. On the one hand, people do want to build their future here, have a nice, prosperous life and to continue living here. But on the other hand, there's so many obstacles to actually realizing that dream to live right here in Guyana.
And most of you are wondering how we come about with these ideas. Well, FTF organized some open space meeting to understand directly what is the needs of people in this country.
What do you think about Guyana? What do you think about living right here in Guyana? How do you feel? What are your concerns?
An open space meeting involves bringing large numbers of people together to discuss issues of interest. The agenda for the meeting is set up by placing topics on the board, after which the persons vote for priority issues to be discussed. Once the topics have been set to each group, persons in the gathering are free to move between groups to make contributions on relative topics. FTF organized several of these meetings prior to developing its three major activities.
If we look at history, if you understand culture, understanding who you are, then you just respect each other, pull together, and run with the one vision.
You cannot go into my home because I am black or perceived to be of a certain ethnic group and you lock me up because Carifest is coming up and you want to rid the streets of unwanted elements? No way.
There's a lot of potential, but the system needs to change. There's a lot of corruption, as well as, aside from corruption, there's a lot of discrimination. The system is not really a strict law-abiding system in a sense, so the jurisdiction itself needs to be reconfigured somewhat.
I think the immediate future is very dark, but I think the distant future, particularly because of the young people, is very bright. But I think there's a lot that we have to get past before we get to that bright future. But I have a lot of faith in the youth.
That was one of several open space meetings that we had, and that one especially featured persons from different civic organizations such as young people, women, people with disabilities, religious organizations.
And other than the open space meeting, we had a few distinguished people.
Professor Yashgai came all the way from Kenya to share his experiences with us. He is a constitutional expert, and in Kenya, there were a lot of problems with their tribes. So what he did was review their constitution and found a way for all the tribes to get along. So when he came to Guyana, he didn't come to lecture to us. He came to share his ideas and find ways in which we can improve our constitution so that it is better for our political life here.
At that public lecture, we also invited persons from the different political parties. His accent might throw you away a little bit, but what I want you to do is to pay attention to what he's saying, because what he's saying is very, 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 very educational.
Distinguishes two kinds of politicians. One kind is the one who lives for politics. gets into public life because she wants to improve the lot of the people, wants to fight poverty. The other kind, he said, politicians who live by politics. In other words, they are in politics because they want to make money, they want to accumulate wealth, they want to monopolize positions of power. And I would say that 98% of Kenyans are in the second category. And that is a problem. It is not tribalism.
Well, we hope that you guys enjoy that brief presentation. You know what I've observed lately, Carrie-Ann, is that out of all of the likable activities, guys, politics has now become as just as going to the dentist.
Yeah, tell me about it. So, what FTF chose to do to react to this situation is set up 3 program areas. We have, firstly, a series of public dialogue, somewhat like what we just saw in the video from Professor Yashkai. Secondly, we have a signature campaign. We're trying to modernize the electoral process so it's better and more accountable.
The third program, it focuses less on politics but on young people and their vision for the community in Guyana.
Yeah, guys, so you heard our program areas, but what we'll do is that we'll break for a few minutes, and when we get back, we'll get more into details on our program areas. So don't go anywhere, guys.